welcome to Marvel Champions podcast about Marvel Champions, the card game. I am your host, Scott, and with me as always, my co-host, Ryan.
Hello, Scott. I think it's time that we do another versus, because I've been having fun with that. But I was thinking, maybe we should have another guest join us. A guest that we have had before. I think the only guest we've had before. But we have Boomguy with us again.
Hey, Boomguy is back. I am your first repeat guest. Is that correct?
Our first guest and first repeat. All right.
Let's go. I'm going for gold.
Ryan, I was getting tired of beating you up, so this is good. Glad we got another contender in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We got this.
Well, I think last time, you, Scott, were the ref, so maybe I will be the ref this time. And as always, versus, we take two cards from either the aspects or the hero pool and compare them and see which one does it better. And because we've got Boomguy, we know he's a big fan of Vision, and so we have pulled out some Vision cards.
Ooh, I love hearing that. I am a big Vision fan. Let me just, before we start into verses, can I just say to your audience, first of all, thank you guys for having me back. This is great. But I want to encourage everyone who's listening to this to stop what they're doing for 30 seconds and please go rate and review this podcast on whatever platform you're listening. Before I came on, I looked you guys up on Apple Podcasts, and the number of reviews you have is absolutely criminal. This is an awesome show, and people who listen should really just take a few seconds, leave 5 stars, drop a few words, letting Ryan and Scott know how awesome their show is and how much you appreciate it. It does help get the show up in the charts. It does help them, getting into more eyeballs and more earballs. So please just do that quick.
I will say I have looked out there one time, and I think when we first started, we had this disgruntled review. And I will say half his review was probably warranted because our audio was really garbage back in the day. But we've come a long way since then, so I'm with Boomguy.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah, there's definitely an awesome following here. So I hope people do take a minute and review. It does look like you had one disgruntled listener. I also have one disgruntled listener that left me a 2-star review who I've been asking them to email me so we can talk about it. Anyway, please just rate and review the podcast. It only takes a second.
All right. I'm glad that we paid you to say that. This is perfect.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
All right. Scott, you ready?
I'm ready.
Boomguy, you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Let's get it on. Ding, 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 ding. That's where you're supposed to insert the sound bite
right
there, Scott.
Here. Okay. Yeah.
Right there.
That's one of my favorite things when I listen to you guys is when you say what you're going to insert. And then half the time it gets inserted. That's straight comedy, and it makes me laugh every time listening. I love it.
Yeah, it's the budget. Sometimes we just don't have it in the budget for that episode.
The sound effects budget is just low this month. We blew it all on that bell ringing last episode. So
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, Scott. So you gonna choose the challenger versus the vision card, and Boomguy will do the vision card. Does that sound pretty fair
if he's
to do?
fine with taking all the vision cards.
yeah,
will,
I'm always fine with that.
All right, so I'll start off with mine. I have the Bulletproof Bell of the Ball, Rogue's Bulletproof Bell. It's a 1-cost event, defense superpower, hero interrupt. When when an enemy with touched attached to it attacks, prevent all damage from that attack and gain a tough status. It's pretty good. Cancel out an entire attack and a tough status card. I'd like to see Vision beat that.
Well, I will do my best because I have the 1-cost event Mass Increase from the Vision Hero Pack, which is traded as defense and superpower and says, Play only if vision is in dense mass form. Hero interrupt defense. When vision defends, prevent all damage from that attack. Stun the attacking enemy after that attack resolves. This card is... Okay, so both of these cards I think are deeply flawed, but Vision's card is a one of. I think Rogue has 2 copies of hers. And this is probably my least favorite Vision card. But I will say you're going to effectively prevent 2 attacks, hopefully, right? You're going to defend and prevent all damage. So you might get hit for 30 damage. Does not matter. Juggernaut can go kick rocks. And you're also going to stun, so as long as the enemy does not have steady or stalwart, you are going to lose another attack, kind of similar to webbed up in a way, which is great. So you're going to get 2 attacks out of it. You're going to prevent all damage, doesn't matter how much. So that's pretty good. I will say the weakness here is, of course, that it has to be played if you're in dense mass form. I'm sure we're going to talk about that with the Rogue card. And it's also... it's less important, but it's a defense card, and of course Vision can't defend in his other mass form anyway, so that's really moot. So that's kind of the background of my card. Go ahead.
I think you make great points, and I feel like these two are a lot more equal than one of our other battles we had, because mine doesn't even work if I don't have touched on the right person. So that is a big, factor in that one. But I like your argument. I think it's a good argument to like, which is superior, a stun or a tough, right? Because in essence, are they kind of doing the same thing? Kind of. But you made a good point, like stalwart and steady, the stun isn't as good because I can still have a tough against a stalwart and steady.
Mm-hmm.
But if they got piercing, then we're talking about, getting that pierced, and it's not going to matter anyways. But I don't think that many villains have piercing. I know some have in attachments, but I don't think villains innately have piercing as much as they would have steady or stalwart in the game now, especially.
Yeah. I think I would still rate the stun as, all things being equal, of course, as more valuable than the tough, because the tough can get pinged off with any number of little garbage damage that may not be an attack from the villain. Right? So ideally you want to use mass increase on the villain, of course. So he attacks or she attacks and you defend and stun. Now, unless they attack again, that stun will stay for next round, or it would either way, it blocks their next attack. Whereas Bulletproof Bell, I feel like you could pull some stupid minion out who hits you for 1 and there goes your tough card. So in that sense, it's less the piercing and more just like the random damage you take here and there, like take 1 indirect damage from a boost icon or something. So that sucks when that happens because then your tough goes away. I agree with you. I think these are really flawed cards because Bulletproof Bell, as you said, doesn't work unless it's attached to the right enemy or even any enemy. I guess you could play it if touched is on a minion, but it's generally not on a minion. So Bulletproof, like all of Rogue's other cards, and this is my big issue with Rogue and her kit, is that they all do a kicker based on where touched is. And this card should be the same. It should defend and prevent damage, and then, like the other cards should say, then, if touched, or if you have stalwart, do this. If you have aerial, do this. If, then this, right? Instead, it's just like, you prevent damage, and then, like, you get a tough card, or this is nothing. This is a dead card in your hand. And it's kind of the same with Vision. It's like, if you're in dense mass form, that's great, and this is cool. You have to defend to use it, which kind of sucks. So you don't just get to play the card as the defense. You have to basic defend first or play another card if you really want to go down the rabbit hole of defending and triggers. But like, you don't know you're going to draw this until your turn ends. So you've already chosen your mass form. And if you chose intangible, this is just a dead card, similar to Rogue. So it's hard to plan for either of them, really.
Yeah, you make some great points. It's almost like both of these cards are potentially losers. So, yeah, because I like the point that you draw these cards after you've done everything, right? You've picked your mass form, or you've placed touched out somewhere, and it's there till the end of the villain phase. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, Bulletproof Bell, I wish would say when an enemy attacks, put touched on that enemy, and then prevent damage. That would be nice. Or like mass increase when the villain attacks, change to dense form, and then this. Like that would
Right.
make both these cards a lot better. Instead, I feel like I draw them and then it's like, oh, cool, I drew Bulletproof Bell. But like I touched a hero last turn to play my whatever her 0 cost event card is that pulls the event out. So like if I played that, then like this is done. So that's kind of lame. I like mass increase because I often play Jocasta if I'm playing in protection. And Jocasta can fetch this, and then I can kind of time it a little bit better, right? Then I know I have it anytime I need it, and I can flip to dense and use it. But having to basic defend first is kind of lame. I do think the art on both of them is awesome, straight up.
I was gonna step in and say both art is rocking, and I do want to hear the background color scheme. Which one's better?
Ooh, that's a good point. For all of you who are listening and don't play Vision or Rogue very often, I don't think these are popular characters. They're basically the same, yellow and green with a little red stripe, but slightly different shades of yellow. The green looks almost the same though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the scans that make Rogue look a little darker yellow, but and the only other small visual thing is behind the faces. Vision is yellow and Rogue is red.
That's true. I hadn't thought of that before. I mean, before we make a decision here, let me ask you. They're also both physical resources, which is kind of fun. Do either of you play Vision or Rogue much?
I have played Vision more, and I played Vision a lot more recently because I played him as on a sidekick deck, focusing on Anna, Vivian, and that was really fun. Trying to coordinate the forms, making her like super powerful sidekick. That's pretty awesome, and it worked out really good. So I did enjoy playing him, but Rogue I have not played as much.
What about you?
I will say I probably played Vision more than Rogue. Rogue is like as a character just doesn't really interest me very much. And the few times I have played her, I just felt like I was always in the wrong, or had touched always in the wrong place. And like her jacket is my biggest, like, I think it should be opposite of what it is. Because I always felt like when it was attached to touch was attached to the enemy, I should have X thing, and when it was attached to a friendly, I should have X thing, and it was the opposite, and it frustrates me. So Vision, we'll go with Vision.
These are two of my favorites. Rogue might be my favorite X-Men mutant from those 3 waves, to be totally honest. I play her a fair bit, so I play both these characters quite a lot. But I don't think they're very popular. So
No, I think there are others that are popular. But all right, who is winning this according to you all? Because then I will add in my intake.
I will admit defeat, and I will give it to Mass Increase. I think it slightly beats out, not by much, but slightly.
yeah, I think I'm going to go the opposite direction. I think I'm going to say it's Bulletproof Bell. First of all, I'm annoyed that Mass Increase has no flavor text. I'm a big fan of flavor text on cards, and Bulletproof Bell has some pretty solid flavor text, actually. I also just think the not having to basic defend first helps make it a little bit better. Like, it always feels kind of bad to defend with a hero and then play a card to get like a little bit of benefit. It's like there's sometimes when it lines up and I have Master Increase in my hand and I'm like, okay, I'm in dense, this is awesome, I'm going to play it. And then I defend and play it, and you have to do that before you see, like the boost card. And then it's like a 0 boost. And then it's like, well, I kind of wasted this, or maybe I just like exhausted and paid 1 for a stun, which feels bad. Bulletproof Bell, at least I don't have to basic defend, I can just play this. I think they're both maybe the worst cards from their own kits. I think Mass Increase is Vision's worst card, but yeah, Bulletproof Bell might be her worst card. So I think they're not great, but I would, in a very close race, take Bulletproof Bell as the better card.
All right. So I do have something to put in on the Vision side. I do like the idea of having density control, his upgrade, and trying to play off that with Mass Increase. So I will say that can help with making sure that if you have this card, or if you're in dense mass form, you can pull that out for the purpose of you're going to do it. But I do agree that exhausting does stink. So, man, I think I'm going to. Oh man, this is really tough.
Yeah, this is tough. This is a good choice. These two cards.
You all shouldn't have selected the other ones.
You're the tiebreaker, Ryan. Come on.
Oh man. All right. Well, because I have played Vision more and I have been able to utilize Mass Increase more than Bulletproof Bell, I've seen it hit more often. I'm gonna go with Mass Increase.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
So before we go to match 3, can I interject quick and ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Because I asked you about Vision and Rogue. I'm curious. I want to hear like your guys' favorites. Can you each give me like your top 3 favorite heroes to play quick? I don't want to divert the podcast for too much, and you can cut this if you don't want to listen to any of it, but I'm really curious to hear like your top 3 most played or favorite or whatever.
Well, now I know that you don't listen, Boomguy, because you would know mine if you listened. No,
Just out of myself. I try to listen.
I just tease it. Let's see. For me, I'm trying to get a image of a bunch of them. We go back way back. Captain America is like an honorable mention for me. I really like Captain America, but from those kind of early waves, I really like Black Widow. I've liked her since the first time I played her. I remember getting her and playing a solo game and just being like, this is an awesome way to play this game. The preparations, doing things on the villain phase, like outside of protection, and then like supplementing it with protection. It was just a very like cool experience for me, and that helped me drive further in the game and like think outside the box of I am player phase and I am villain phase. And I think she added a lot of cool new mechanic for its time. Let's see. Other waves. I liked Venom when he was out. Let's see. Okay. One, not to spoil our next match, but I really like the Angel and Ant-Man hero packs. The forms, the flipping, the being able to do something different based off of your different form you were in has always been something that's intrigued me. And I think that they do it really well, where you're not, kind of like we talked about, you're not like, oh, I need to be in this form, I'm not, and then I can't do that thing. They do it, I think, better than most other flippers, form changers. So those 3, I think, are up there for me.
Ryan?
Top 3? All right. I think easily in the top 3, Miss Marvel is one of my favorite. I just love what she can do and the deck building options with her, and I've had just some awesome experiences where just like combo after combo after combo, and it just felt really good. And so since then I've always enjoyed playing her, and the card pool keeps growing and she keeps getting better. And then the other 2 are a little tougher. I like trying to play everyone, but there are some that I don't play as much. So the ones I tend to play more, oh man, it's so tough. I do like She-Hulk. I am a fan of She-Hulk. I think she has some really big flaws that kind of came with the first wave heroes, and but it's been really fun to try to navigate those flaws to try to be the best she can be. And I've had some really fun decks with her, and I'm a big fan. Scott's not a big fan. He's like played her once. Come on, Scott.
She has like arguably the worst card in the entire game when you're talking hero kit cards.
Awful. That's a take right there.
I mean, it's really good against Ultron, though.
All right. Well, you have fun fighting Ultron every time.
Yeah, there you go.
That's not even the card I thought you meant.
Which one? Well, she probably has like. I
thought you meant her thwarting alter ego card. You discard your hand.
Yes, I was gonna say she has 2 right off the bat that are terrible.
Take your pick.
One of them too.
Yeah.
But she has some really. I love her. I can't even think of the name right now. Her
The form
card,
changing one.
the form changing one. That
Yep.
one is just so fun. I
Split
love it.
personality or something. I forget what it's
Mhm.
called.
Yeah,
Split
split
personality.
personality.
And I
Yeah.
really love her ally, Hellcat. I have a deck that's centered around her, just putting her in, getting her out, and just recycling her so many times. It's really fun.
Okay. Okay.
And then, this last one's really tough. Which one do I really enjoy playing? I really like Psylocke. I have a lot of fun with her. I do like Spider Woman because I love the deck building aspect. Which one do I go with though?
We know you love Jubilee, Ryan.
Jubilee. No, Jubilee's not my favorite. I think she's got some good things, but she's not my favorite. But yeah, let's just go with let's stick with Spider Woman. I like the deck building opportunities with her, so I think it's really fun to find some unique combos with her.
And you guys picked some early waves like She-Hulk, Black Widow, Miss Marvel, Ant-Man, Spider-Woman. Those are all like early game.
We
Respect.
we've been talking about, how like heroes have changed and stuff, and there's definitely a lot more misses in the like first half of the game creation. And we felt like these, like especially the mutant wave, there've been a lot just more solid heroes. Like you may not like the hero, but they still do good. Like they still do good damage or thwart or whatever they need to do. But none of them have like really busted out as like really fun. The one that I will say that I've had a lot of fun with and I need to go back to is I do like Magic. I do like that play of the top of the player's deck. I've had a lot of fun playing with her.
Have you guys played every hero? Is there anything you haven't played yet?
I think we played them all.
Yeah, I played it all. Sadly, I do have to admit that I played Star-Lord. Ugh.
There's still heroes I haven't played. Like there's still a list. Amazingly.
So typically when like a box comes out, because I buy it, I get to pick out of the two heroes in the box.
Seems
Then
fair.
Ryan just gets the leftovers.
I get the hand-me-downs. It's been
You're right.
my whole life. So
He's the little brother, by the way.
I'm getting that.
Yeah. And then usually we just kind of play from there as the heroes come out. We'll play them, but yeah, we generally will play all, and then there's those occasional heroes that you play once or twice, and you're just like, it's not me, it's not how I play.
Yeah. I hear that. I tend to like the kind of heroes that most people don't like. I find a lot of fun in like mid-power heroes that are kind of challenging or have like glaring weaknesses. So obviously that's not Vision, but I did mention Rogue is one. I also really like Groot and War Machine and Wasp and characters like that. I really like those kind of ones that really aren't great and struggle to make good decks work, but I find those rewarding. Like anyone I feel like can make a Captain America deck go off, or Venom, or there's a bunch of heroes like that. But so I tend to gravitate towards heroes like that.
I've had that too, specifically with Hulk, because there's so much hate on Hulk that I was like, I've got to prove that he's good. And so I ended up playing with him so many times, just trying to figure out how to make him work. And I have found ways, and I've found fun ways to play him. I wouldn't say he's my favorite, but I have found ways that have made him more fun. And the most recent one is Protection. Playing him Protection and reading a lot. It's been a lot more fun.
Yeah, we had Caleb Grace on our show, and we asked him about Hulk specifically because, Hulk is kind of notorious in the community, and he had, I don't want to spoil everything, he had some pretty surprising things to say about the design of Hulk and the sales numbers of Hulk and how the designers view Hulk now, even, years into the game. Not to come on your show and plug mine, but I think if people are this deep into the game and you're in the rabbit hole this far, you'd probably enjoy listening to that, and like some of the thoughts that he had, I thought were pretty interesting. So just throw that out there.
All right. Well, we can definitely link down to that interview. Go out, go listen to it. Show the Winning Hand podcast guys some love.
Yeah, we're
I
small but mighty.
Yeah, we'll link down to it. Go listen to that. Don't pause here and go listen to that. Finish our episode, then go listen.
Yes, finish this first. Finish this episode, leave a 5-star review, and then go check out Winning Hand.
And then leave them a 5-star review.
I mean, of course, it was implied. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you got to spell things out.
Well, your listeners are smart. They got it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, so we do have another versus battle coming up, though. Is that right?
That is
wasn't
right.
it, right?
That's right. We have one more.
Okay.
The fans
The main event.
won it.
Ooh.
The main event. We've been thinking about, how we can really, that what is it in boxing? It's the prize fight. Is that what they call it?
Title fight.
The title fight we could do.
Yeah, this is my third versus battle, right? I did one on a previous episode. We've done one now. They were both vision cards. I don't know how that worked out, but it was lucky. Surely I don't have another vision card.
Well, Vision is so versatile that they just keep going back to Vision and be like, how can we steal Vision's cards and like do the same thing, right?
What's the best way to get on the Winning Hand podcast? I got to steal some inspiration from Vision, and then he will talk about it.
There you go.
That's right. It worked.
That's right. So now we're going to go with another vision card, and we're going to have a card from Angel.
Ooh, okay.
Or Archangel, depending on which form you're in.
Ooh.
Or Angel if you're from Spain.
Oh, there you go. All right, let's see. I think the last one I started off with Scott, so Boomguy, do you want to start this one off?
Oh, I would love to. Okay, I have the 3-cost Vision Event Solar Beam, one of my favorite cards. It is traded Attack, Superpower, and Thwart, which I will mention later. And it says, Hero Action, Attack. If Vision is in Dense Mass form, deal 7 damage to an enemy. Hero Action, Thwart. If Vision is in Intangible Mass form, remove 5 threat from a scheme. This card is just flat out awesome. I think it is probably his best card in his kit. The art is awesome. It's like Vision in space shooting a little sunbeam out of his... I don't know why I said sunbeam. It's a solar beam, clearly, as the name of the card suggests. It's different in the comics than it is in the movies, where he has one of Thanos's rainbow rocks, but here it's like a solar beam thing that absorbs the sun, and he shoots a beam. Anyway, this card is awesome. It does something no matter what form you're in, unlike some of his cards that require you to be in a certain form. This one you can have in your hand, and then you can flip to whatever you need, 7 damage or 5 threat. It's a little below the curve on both of them, but I think the versatility makes up for it. And it's a superpower like a lot of his cards, so Deft Focus helps pull that cost down. He has a resource generator in his kit anyway. And the thing that it has with the attack and thwart traits that I love, this is like a nerdy deck building thing. If you are playing in aggression, for example, you can use the... what's the card called? The one that generates a fist resource for an attack event. You can use that. Martial Prowess, thank you. You can use that to thwart because the card has the trait regardless of which option you choose. So you can thwart with that, or likewise, if you use Sense of Justice, you can trigger that card to pay for this as an attack. So that's just like a cool deck building thing. But this card's awesome. I love the versatility, and this often is like some burst damage that he needs. So awesome card.
That is a good card. And they're like, the numbers are high, which I like.
Yeah.
Mine, well, we'll get to. I think my numbers aren't as big as yours. All right, my card. You're right.
A lot of guys struggle.
3-cost event, Adaptive Plumage out of the Angel Hero Pack. It is an aerial attack thwart traded card. Hero action thwart. If you are Angel, remove 3 threat from a scheme and confuse an enemy. Or hero action attack. If you are Archangel, deal 4 damage to an enemy and stun it. So this one's pretty good. You got that confuse, that stun. But the nice thing about this is you get like an extra little bump with Angel because of his abilities that he's got. Gotta look him up here. I think Angel, you get to draw a card after you play an aerial event.
Yep.
And so that's cool. And then the other cool thing about the damage piece is if you are Archangel, you can add the event cost, the printed cost, and deal damage to an enemy. So you can do 3 more for a total of 7 to 1, or you can dish out an additional 3 over to another enemy, which is pretty powerful. So either one huge 7 damage attack, or I can spread it out into 4 and 3, which is pretty good. And I still get the stun.
All of that is true. And then you have your techno-organic wings, right? That you can reduce costs.
Yes, and not only that, I can pay the powered flight. So I can take it down to a 1 as it is, or use my wings and reduce it by 2.
That's real good. And he has resource cards, Avian Anatomy, right? That can return to your hand.
Yes. After I play it, so I can spin the Avian Anatomy with either of those, right?
Correct.
And then get it back, and then get to do it all over again.
Yeah, that's crazy good. I will say, I think your art is a little weaker. It's just like a wing, which, it's not a laser beam from your forehead. So, just saying.
I would definitely agree with that. The art on Vision is better. Sorry, Scott.
I will say you are right. And I know the card specifically says what it is, but I don't think I ever really noticed it's half Angel, half Archangel in the wings.
It's like feathers and metal feathers combined.
But then the background behind that, what is that?
It looks like lava. I don't know. Or like a force field or something. It's hard to tell. It's like red, orangish with white lines in it.
Really nice Microsoft Word clip art background.
I do like his color scheme, the blue and the silver with the yellowish kind of cream colored stripe in the background. I think that's good design on the cards. I think these are very, very similar. It just comes down to raw numbers versus some kickers. And, we talked about he has other cards that kind of interact with this, and either his hero card or, adaptive plumage and stuff like that, which is not entirely fair to pull in 5 other cards to make the argument for this one, but they kind of work together. But just like my card, it has the attack and the thwart traits, which is kind of rare to see. So you could do the same trick that I mentioned with Vision about using martial prowess or sense of justice to pay for the opposite that you can normally not pay for, which is kind of cool.
This card concept to me is one I wish we could get a hero that all their cards are these either ors. I just really like this card type.
Yeah.
If you're this, do this. If you're this, do this. Or I guess you could have some choosing around, choose whether to do this or this. I don't know. I just really like this concept. Yeah.
Yeah. It gives you decisions in the moment, which is fun as a player. It's not fun to draw a bulletproof bell and be like, oh, that sucks. Touched is on the wrong thing. It's fun to be like, oh, okay, I have solar beam. Well, right now, do we need damage? Do we need threat? What's more valuable in this moment? And I can kind of flex with that. Or same with adaptive plumage. It's just oh, well, we could do this, or I'm going to switch to this form so this card will work better here to trigger something else, which is cool.
And I think also in a roundabout way, it's I'm getting 2 cards in one. So my hero kit, kind of has more than 15 cards.
Yeah.
Because with how much we talked about cost reduction, if I wanted to do 1 or 2 for 3 damage and a confuse, or 3 confuse, or 3 threat and a confuse, that's pretty good up by itself.
Mm-hmm. And the awesome thing about adaptive plumage is talk about having 2 cards in one. You can play it with his resource card and do one thing, and then put it back in your hand, flip your form, and then do the other thing. So you can really do both.
Yeah. Did I mention I like Angel?
Are you a big Angel fan? I just asked you your favorites. Angel, did he come up? I don't even remember.
I said Angel and Ant-Man. I did say that.
You said them together, though.
You cheated a little bit.
A little bit, a little cheaty, but
I asked you for your top 3. You gave me an honorable mention, and then you gave me 2 for your third, and I don't know, just three.
He's been one of the better hero kits for me in the past couple waves. I think he's a standout one.
He's really strong too. He's really, really good.
I have to bring it up as the judge here. I have noticed, since this is the third Vision versus card we've done, I have noticed that I feel like the designers learned a lot from Vision and how he operated, and tried to make some adjustments to, I guess, as an overall audience to enjoy it, because it sounds like adaptive plumage just overall just has a lot of things going for it outside of just that card that helps that card. So I think it's really tough to compare Vision cards with other cards because of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Vision, when he came out, and I think I said this in the last episode I was on your podcast, but he was really novel in a lot of ways when he came out. He was the first one to have a separate card with his identity, right? This mass form card, and we suddenly had 2, and we were, flipping in different ways. And, if you're an alter ego, you can either have a bigger hand size or you can have more recover, and vice versa. It's so many cool things. And he was the first one to discard these villain attachments, and he had this confuse in his kit. He had these cards where you do this or this. And I think that was really cool. I just think all these verses are showing me that his design has just aged a little bit. And now when you look back, right, with modern design, because Angel's a wave 8, and Vision was wave 4. They've just learned a lot in those years and those waves. And I think designs have just become a little sharper, and they work together a little bit better than they did in Vision's day. So, he's kind of the granddaddy of each of these battles, I feel like. And I just feel like he's a little bit weaker in each case, to be honest. I think Solar Beam is great, but adaptive plumage works with so many other things that Angel has. I think it kind of boosts it up.
If you've ever seen the movie Rocky Balboa, this is the one where Sylvester Stallone comes back as Rocky, and he goes into the match, and he keeps up with the other boxer, and he does really well, surprises him, but overall they still end up, the other guy wins. Spoiler alert, sorry everyone. It's a pretty good movie. But I feel like that's kind of where Vision is, how you mentioned, he's the grandfather. He keeps up with them, but eventually it kind of goes to the newer design, the update.
Yeah, I think that's how it ends. And I mean, if you're comparing this cards just in a vacuum, maybe Solar Beam keeps up a little bit better. But I think, we talked about with Angel's resource cards and the power of flight and his techno-organic wings and just what his hero card does, I just feel like it doesn't quite keep up when you look at the whole thing.
What I've been thinking while you've been saying that is, I think they've learned a little bit of how to make the kit of the whole hero almost a little more cohesive and not as disjointed in some of those older packs.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, he came out right after Valkyrie, so clearly things have been learned. Shots at Valkyrie, I know it's easy, but I think that wave is kind of much maligned, to be honest. It was also War Machine was in that wave, and Nebula, and a lot of heroes I think most people don't care for.
That was a hard
This
wave for
special
some.
wave, yeah.
Though I will say Valkyrie's getting a little bit more love with some more recent releases of some aggression cards. But again, it's aggression, which is what she does anyway. So
Yeah. Poor Valkyrie. Someone has to be the worst, right? Like, it is what it is. Someone has to be the worst.
it's true. It's true. All right. I think we know what it is, but let's make it official. Who is the winner of this versus?
I think it's adaptive plumage.
Adapted plumage.
I will have to agree. It's plumage.
It's unanimous. Poor Viz.
But yeah, I do agree that in a vacuum, like you said, Solar Beam does it overall just does more numbers, though it doesn't have that stun and confuse. But yeah, there's just nothing you can do when you include everything else that Angel can do.
Yeah. I do think this is Vision's best card, and I play it every time I get it. It's just awesome, has good numbers, and it's flexible. But yeah, it's just an older card.
Yeah. All right. I do have one Vision question. As our resident Vision expert, there's been some controversy on this, but does Vision start with a 5 hand size or 6 hand size?
He starts with a 5 hand size, and that is confirmed. Someone, I don't know who, wrote a question to Fantasy Flight and asked the rules panelist, Alex. It was confirmed that he does start with a 5 hand size because of the order of operations and the setup. You know, you draw your hand after the mass form's put into play, et cetera, et cetera. I maintain, and I will go to my grave maintaining, that is a mistake. That they intended for him to have a 6 hand size, but then based on how they restructured with some of the RRGs, how the kind of setup got changed, it just ended up that he had 5, and I think they just doubled down on saying that's what they intended. I don't think they intended him to have a 5 hand size. I don't think he's good enough or strong enough to like need a 1-turn nerf at the start of the game. So he does start with 5, but I think that was a mistake on their part, and they just refused to admit it. So,
you know, one of our favorite phrases we hear like on the Facebook page is just play it the way you want to play it. So
people say that all the time.
There it is. It's your game. Just play it. Okay.
The FFG police isn't going to come get you. You can do whatever you want.
That's right.
It's like, yeah, but, you know, if we start following that thread, you know, I'm going to ignore a million other rules. And then, you know, pretty soon, where are we?
That's right.
Do you guys have any house rules that you like for the game? Anything that you guys do that is technically not correct?
We play 2 scenarios. Is that what we do?
We don't have any like ongoing rules, but we have like some scenario specific house rules we think make the game flow or feel a little more thematic.
Go on.
Now I'm trying to remember them. One is the Brotherhood. We like it when you defeat a Brotherhood member that you also change the location as well. It doesn't make sense that you're defeating all the Brotherhood on the basketball court. It's more fun to go to different parts of the X Mansion.
At Mansion Attack, right?
Yeah, Mansion Attack. Because like the game, you will get forced to another area, but you have to thread out to that. But if you're good, you're not threading out. So, and then when you defeat the first one, you got to go to somewhere else to defeat the second one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just spices the game up a little bit. It changes the way that game plays to where like you're having to build around this first, you know, whatever it is. Each ally and minion get toughness or something, and then the game changes, right? I think it's a little more thematic in that scenario.
I don't always play Loki with the Infinity Gauntlet. You hear something crazy. Sometimes I just want to play Loki, and I don't like that he always has to have the Infinity Gauntlet, so
agreed.
Sometimes I don't play. And there are cards that interact with it, like it is required for the scenario, but I just treat them as Surge. Like if a card comes up that requires the Gauntlet, because there's a couple in his kit, I just Surge into something else.
trying to think if there was another one. I feel like there was one more that we play
I
differently.
think Risky Business, everybody puts a crisis icon on Risky Business. Or not everybody, but I think that's a common thing I've seen to make it harder because it's too easy to kind of game that scenario.
That's not a bad one.
The other one that Ryan's toyed with is Dark Beast. You kind of have the same thought with Mansion Attack. You're chasing Beast through time, and you only get 2 of the set-asides, and it's like, part of it didn't feel like it was like a race. Like, I wanted to feel more like a race. Kind of like how Mojo is. Like, if you run out with Mojo, the game is going to end. And I felt like with Dark Beast, you got to catch him and stop him before he gets to the end of time or wherever Apocalypse is. So,
yeah,
I think, Ryan, you pretty much built it to where you get X amount of turns. I can't remember if it's like 4 or 5 turns. And then you automatically get the next set aside encounter set.
Yeah, I've played around where, because his attack, he activates the special, and so I did it where when he thwarts, he activates like not the special, but he puts a counter on the environment, and that's kind of his escape counter. And so once you get enough counters on there, it moves to the next location. So you're trying to chase him, and once you get to that third one, and you lose him because there's no other environments. And so I kind of liked the, in that scenario, you go down, you're kind of safe from the special, but now you're not safe from it because it's just going to progress the environment in the end game a little quicker.
Okay. Maybe I'll try that one.
And I don't think we talked about it when you were on last, but we play predominantly in standard, or some variation of standard. Standard 1, 3. I don't know how you play. You play a lot of expert or standard.
I generally play expert almost exclusively. Sometimes I'll mix it up from there. So expert is my kind of baseline. And that's not a flex or anything. I like having a little bit harder, and I think generally I'll go up from there. So sometimes I'll throw in standard 2 with expert 1. I don't usually play expert 2 to be honest, but sometimes I'll do standard 3 with expert 1. I kind of flex it around. I don't like heroic. I don't like expert 2 for the most part. I hope we get expert 3, but sometimes I'll play just like skirmish to kind of make it like a shorter game, or standard. If I'm playing with like a group of people, I'll play standard sometimes just because the number of hit points is usually lower and you can get through a game faster. I find that most games of Marvel Champions, by the time you flip to the second villain card, the game is kind of already decided. Especially in a large group. It's like there's 4 of us and we hit Thanos for 100 hit points and now we have to do it again for 100. Like, we're already going to win this game. Everyone is set up enough to have done 100 hit points. So we're just going to grind. So sometimes it's fun to just do skirmish modes. You just do 1 and then you're done. But yeah.
All right. As a final question, what is your favorite scenario and what is your least favorite scenario?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think my least favorite scenario, maybe I'm going to pick some dark horses here. My least favorite is Collector 1. I think that scenario is complete nonsense. I just think at a fundamental level, it doesn't really work very well. It's a cool idea, but I think it doesn't work. And often you end up losing because of things that feel unfair. It's like he collects his own cards and you lose. LOL. That was fun. So I don't like that one very much. One of my favorites is Master Mold. I really, really like Master Mold. I really like him pulling out the Sentinels. I don't even mind his Stalwart all that much, although I think Stalwart's kind of a keyword that needs to be re-examined to some degree. But I love that he like schemes and pulls out more Sentinels, and he's got his like pretty beefy Sentinel minions. So that's cool. They're also, most of them are not elite, or if not all of them are not elite, so you can kind of do some cool stuff with them. You can use Karma or some of Phoenix's stuff to take control of some really powerful minions, or you can use Nova Prime for the first time in his life will be useful, and you can get rid of a minion that's not elite. So I'll say those two.
Nice. Good choices.
Thank you.
All right. Boomguy. I want to say, hopefully, when this comes out, you'll be right around 50 episodes. So congratulations on 50 episodes.
Thank you.
That's it's an exciting milestone to accomplish.
It is. Now we got to get to 100 someday.
Yes, we are closing in. We've still got a little while.
Yeah.
We've
Are
actually,
you guys going to do like a big 100 celebration of some kind? You got something planned?
Oh, man.
That would involve planning something. We may. So, we like to do an end of the year recap.
Ooh.
So, we should have our survey out really soon. So, we want to make sure people fill that out. We want to get their feedback on how 2024 was with Marvel Champions as a game. And we want to make sure that the community gets to share their thoughts and get their voices heard in our recap episode at the end of the year. So we'll have that linked down below as well. We want to get everybody's thoughts on that. And to kind of wet your whistle on that, you may not have listened to our 2023 recap, but we
Did you say recap?
Recap. We have a special award that we give out to the worst ally of the year, and we call it the Roadie in honor of James Rhodes. So, we won't ask you here. Do the survey when it comes out, and we want to know who gets the Roadie for 2024. It's a tough year. We'll talk about it. Because somebody's got to have the Roadie. They may not be deserving, but somebody's going to get it.
And this is products released in 2024, correct?
Correct.
Yes, so this would be
So the first
Age of
one was-
Apocalypse
Okay. Right.
through Magneto.
Okay.
So we've had to wait a little bit. The whole November release is throwing us off a little bit and getting it out. So we got to get Magneto out so people can play him. So, yeah. So that's going to be out there. Hear everybody's feedback on 2024 as a game, how it's going, what we're hoping to see in the future. I'm looking forward to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box. I think theme-wise, it should, from a campaign perspective, from what they've shown so far, I think the scenarios are going to flow really well together, and I'm looking forward to that part.
Yeah, I think the box looks really cool from what we've seen so far. Hopefully there's more coming out soon, but I think the S.H.I.E.L.D. box overall looks really cool, and the silhouettes and what people think is coming, I'm really excited. There's a big future for the game. So,
Yeah. Ryan, any final words?
Nothing specific, but just glad we were able to do this again and hear some thoughts, get to know each other more, and hoping to play some games in the future.
Yeah. And we'll get you guys on Winning Hand soon. It would be great to have you guys over there and kind of go through what we do. And I look forward to chatting more and hopefully seeing you in person at the Con of Heroes.
Sounds like fun. Thanks, Boomguy, for being here with us. If you guys have questions for Boomguy, how can they reach you, Boomguy, for your channel?
So you can find me at Winning Hand. So you can get us on YouTube at Winning Hand Podcast. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can email me at winninghandpodcast@gmail.com or find us on various social media platforms where we exist, Instagram and whatever. I think we have a Twitter that I've never posted anything under, but if you are into that, you can hit me up there. But primarily, we're on audio podcast and YouTube, so hit us there.
Awesome. And if you want to reach out to us, we are a podcast, right? You're listening to it right now. But you can email us at marvelchampionspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you think that solar beam is better than adaptive plumage, we want to hear that.
Yeah.
And your argument on that.
Don't be a chump. Be a champ. And email the Marvel Champions.
That's right. And if you've made it this far, I think you've listened long enough to become a champ.
And if you've listened this far, leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
That's right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And if you want to go from a chump to a champ, listen to the Marvel Champions podcast. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Are you going to answer his question? Which,
Oh,
claim more?
me.
Just talked right over me. Just ignored me. It's the last time I'm coming on this pod.
He'll cut that out.
Yeah. What are you talking about, Boomguy? Let's see.